All right, guys, we are live. Big LSU football edition tonight of TigerBait Live. LSU Florida State Sunday night. Game week is here. We're going to break it down for a solid hour. LSU fans, of course, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing, the title sponsor of the show. And, of course, TigerBait is Pride is the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. We'll talk about Mike and Alex a little bit later in the show. And, of course, I bring in my cohort, Buddy Songy. Welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, publisher of TigerBait.com, Mike Scarborough. By the way, where's the best shirts in the business for some of these shows? As you see, I'm in early season form. This is a favorite of our viewing audience, this Titleist purple and gold hat. So I brought that for good luck. But you know how we've had so much interaction with the Knoll Nation?
There's a bunch of them in here already.
Guess what? I'm going to give some reality about Florida State and what they've been like the last 3 years under Mike Norvell. But, man, this is why you cover LSU. This is why you go to LSU. This is why you love Power 5 football. This is what it's like. I told Mike today, I think it'll be the most viewed ball game of the weekend. You think tomorrow night's Florida-Utah game. By the way, Utah's quarterback is out, so Billy Napier, they had to leave Gainesville early because of Idalia. But, man, I am chomping at the bit and already have started to nervously eat for this Sunday night game that I think is going to be the best one of the weekend.
I'm getting a kick out of Florida State fans. I noticed right before we went live, there was another comment posted to Preston's show on Monday night. It's been probably almost every week this summer where they're basically calling all of us homers. And let me break it to you, Florida State fans. I'm familiar with some of the guys that cover the Seminoles. And having been in this business for 25 plus years, the biggest homers that I ever dealt with back in the network days before I went independent were the Florida State guys. Y'all have the biggest homer media I've ever seen. So it's kind of rich hearing Florida State fans call LSU media or us homers. In fact, I don't know that we've been homering up a bit, but if you say LSU's going 11-1 and you think LSU's going to beat Florida State, you're a homer.
Yeah.
So then so be it.
Well, look, this is why I love college football more than anything. LSU just had a women's natty in basketball. It was fantastic. And I know it really raised your eyebrows and your attention to Kim Mulkey and what she's done. Jay Johnson, once again, a great run, still proving benefits. People are following Cruz and Skeens and everybody else. But this is what we all love, the anticipation, man. It's so much part of the fun. I'm just going to throw some stats out there real quick for the Florida State Nation. And, man, I got to be honest with you. I started diving into this football team. On paper, they are really, really good.
No, they are a good football team.
But the last 3 years, they're 18 and freaking 16. They've beaten one top 10 team in 3 years. Mike Norvell is 1-4 in bowl games. And my point is that they beat the last 6 opponents they played. And because of that 6-game winning streak, they think they're going to just throw the net out there and slay everybody in front of them. Oh, by the way.
Well, here's the deal. You know what it really boils down to? What covers up a lot of sins in college football. It's all about a veteran quarterback. I mean, that solves so many problems for you. And so they've got that in spades just like LSU does.
But I was just going to say, those 6 wins, Mike, Georgia Tech, at Miami, at Syracuse. By the way, Johnny Wilson took one to the house on Deuce Chestnut in that game last year. ULL beat Florida by a field goal and then struggled to beat a 6-6 Oklahoma team in the bowl game. And yet they come in here and act like they were back. Now, I had a great relationship with Bobby Bowden many, many, many years ago. Mike, for 14 years, Florida State was in the top 4. Every year. They're not that relevant now. Do they have the potential to be that relevant? Yes. But quit coming in here and acting like you've been kicking ass for the last 3 years. You had 2 losing seasons. One was a COVID. You've beaten one top 10 team.
But you have to give him a little bit. I mean, he did inherit a mess. He inherited a big mess.
But all of I just stated was facts, not opinion. Okay? Yeah. So this arrogance, and you talk about it, but this is what's so great about college football.
I mean, look, they're fans. I mean, look, we run a show that's one of the more popular shows in every SEC market. Okay, I guess I'm doing a little chest beat, but man, they talk more smack than any SEC fan base we've ever seen based on the comments.
And
section.
nobody knows. Nobody knows. Look, we're going to talk about the two quarterbacks. Did you hear Brian Kelly talk about Jordan Travis? That is nothing but respect. And Travis is probably the most underrated quarterback in the country. But I'll say this tonight. They're not going to face another quarterback that they have to tackle in space that's faster than Jaden Daniels. And if he gets loose, he's going to take one to the house. We'll talk about all the things, offense, defense. It's going to be a hell of a game.
On one hand, we're getting after him a little bit, and then we're also giving them, plaudits.
Yeah.
But they are, right now, from what we've seen and what we know going in the season, they are one of the top two opponents on LSU's schedule.
Sure.
We'll see what Petrino does with Texas A&M. Does Hugh Freeze shock anybody? We'll see. But, yeah. All right, let's dive into the comments. Roger Ramjet says, good to be with you guys. Can't wait to see the Sunday night thriller. I think it's going to be a really great game. James Moore, Mike and Buddy, the game will determine if LSU secondary can cover Florida State receivers. Cameron Tate, we all know the concerns of LSU secondary. On the flip side, what is your honest opinion on how LSU's offense will stack up against Florida State's defense?
There's been a lot said, and Will Campbell got the 7. In case you've been out behind a rock or cruise or whatever, worried about a hurricane, captains for LSU thought it very appropriate. Jaden Daniels and Will Campbell. Will Campbell got number 7. Never happened before as an offensive lineman. Cushenberry had 18, which is a different number. And then, of course, on defense, Brooks and Makai Wingo. Those are your 4 captains. But, man, you start talking about the playmakers in this game. Florida State, and can they stop the run? LSU is going to pound the football inside with that inside zone. They're also going to dump it off, but so is Florida State. LSU's got to cover their tight ends. Johnny Wilson's a big 6'7", 245-pound man. Sage Ryan, Deuce Chestnut, Zay Alexander, Ashton Stamp are going to have to come up in space and tackle and not miss a tackle, because if you miss a tackle, there he goes. And so the secondary, so my theory is this. If LSU gets control of the game in the second half, they run the football and keep the football away from Florida State's offense. Both are going to have some moments of greatness on Sunday night.
All right, let me get down here. And Keystone 24 with a super sticker, 1999. Big time thanks. No comment, Keystone. But if you didn't get your comment in, I'll look for it. Type in a comment into or a question or comment, and I'll be sure to read it on the air. If you just send it just for the heck of it, we thank you very much. But if you have a question or comment, type it out, enter it, and I'll be sure to read it. Thanks for sending that super chat, big time. Anybody, anything else you want to add to that? What you were just saying?
Well, no, I was just going to say there are a lot of matchups that we're going to get into. Harold Perkins didn't play in this game. Aaron Anderson is returning punts. You're not going to have a cluster frick with special teams this year. LSU's appreciably better. Florida State's appreciably better. Who will bring their A game Sunday night? And is that what it's going to take for whatever team wins? Are they going to have to bring their A game, or can they win with the team turning it over and making mistakes? I mean, LSU, as we know, totally different. So is Florida State, who, by the way, very successful in the transfer portal. That's why I think all these fans are going crazy. They picked up a corner and a wide receiver. Keon Coleman is chomping at the bit to take one to the house against the secondary of LSU. I guarantee you he's talking about it right now.
Aaron Anderson, does he gives LSU fans a little taste of what's to come? Or does he have something that's a big one, like a 30-plus yarder? Or just some little snippets, a 12, a 17? What kind of punt return might we LSU get out of him?
All I can say is, Mike and I were talking about Aaron Anderson ever since he went to Alabama, and Mike called me up and said, man, this one hurt. I know that kid wanted to go at LSU. As we know, the way it came about, he came back the second time on the mulligan. But I am as excited as a pig in slop to see LSU have some special teams with some return capability. 3.3 yards per punt return, and they gave up 10.9 on the other side of it. Gunners are an important part of this game, the ones that block and the ones that go down and tackle. But Aaron Anderson, I got him going for one at least 30. Hope there's no laundry on the field with the flag.
All right, guys. As always, if you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button. And if you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell. We've got a lot of back-end analytics on each of these shows, and it'll tell you how many of our viewers were subscribers and how many. And it's been running about 50-50. So there's a lot of people who tune in every week but still haven't hit the subscribe button yet and that notification bell. We're loading content here almost every day, sometimes 3 and 4 times a day, and all of it's free. So you'll get that alert if you hit that notification bell. All right, let me scroll up and get some more here. Hal Jubin with a let's go. Mac Daddy Dunk, I want to know where is Harris and all of this DB talk. Dude is a beast. If he is ready, he shuts down any of those wide receivers. Well, that's the problem, Mac Daddy. He's been at LSU since the spring. Look, we didn't get as much access in the spring as we had in the fall. But when we did have access in the spring and what we got in the fall, not once did Denver Harris ever flash in front of anybody in the media, and not once did Brian Kelly ever single him out for great play. Look, the door was wide open for him to take the job. I mean, nobody's holding him back. The only thing that's holding him back is himself.
Hey, listen, we go through this every year. You know, something happens. First, it was Mason Smith with the autograph thing. And then, of course, the news with John Emery. You should have heard Mike talk about that today on the radio. But that being said, one of the things that's going to happen Sunday night is you Tiger fans are going to get pissed off because Matt House is going to play 7 yards off the line of scrimmage, and they're going to make a play in space, and they're going to miss a tackle and give up a big play. This is a problem with Denver Harris. Matt House plays a lot more zone. Denver Harris is a covered corner, press man-to-man. All of a sudden, instead of being up on a guy and jamming him at the line of scrimmage and disrupting that momentum, he's 7 yards off, and he never got acclimated to it. And so Sage Ryan, as we know, we've talked about it, look, this is a game where 15 is going to finally get a chance to prove if he was worth that star ranking. We know he's a great kid. We know that Brian Kelly talked about his speed, upwards of 21, almost 22 miles an hour. But you know this, they're going to throw in front of those corners and DBs, and you're going to have to come up and make tackles. And the biggest thing you have to worry about in the first game, missed tackles. So Florida State's going to miss some tackles. LSU's going to miss some tackles. But Denver Harris, from what Mike and I have seen, is nowhere close to being on the field at a starting corner right now.
All right, let's scroll down, guys. Edo, Nuts Bus Driver, good evening, Mike and Buddy.
I thought that was Edo Krabs or something.
Yep. Let's see here.
What's up, O?
Bart Smokey, when was the last national championship in anything FSU won? Well, that'd be Jimbo Fisher.
2013, 10 years ago, Jimbo and Jameis.
Yep. And then after that, LSU wanted him again. And I'm glad they didn't get him the next time.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
And by the way, I know they like to say it in College Station. I do not believe that Brian Kelly went after Jimbo Fisher in the weeks before Brian Kelly got the job. I don't believe he pushed hard at all.
Yeah.
And if he did, he was crazy. But I don't believe he did.
Well, look, all I was trying to bring up with the Florida State record, Mike, and 18 and 16 is not fair for Norvell because you're opening up with a COVID year. And we know that was crazy. But then he's rebuilding a mess, like you said. But this is year 4 for him. This is year 2 for Kelly. They have done a fantastic job with recruiting and in their transfer portal. They got a lot of guys on Florida State's team that could start for LSU, including a corner that LSU went after. But once again, you talk about the difference of special teams. You talk about the maturity of Jaden Daniels. I talked to a guy today who's inside the college football landscape, and he could not stop talking about Jaden Daniels going to California, and working his tail off and getting better. And we know he can run it. But when he comes back there, okay, is he going to square those shoulders and release it, or is he going to have hesitation? They say he's throwing it, and Denbrock's going to dink and dunk. This could be a back-and-forth game. You might be the team that has the ball last that wins this puppy.
I think you'll know if I think whether it's a win or a loss, the one thing that's going to make Brian Kelly the most excited after a win is if LSU can show that they can run the football. They've got to be able to run the football better than they did last year.
And, of course, look.
And you don't – because then it sets the table. You don't want Jaden Daniels having close to 900 yards rushing. You want him to be 300 or 400. You want your running backs to have twice the average they had last year.
Well, look, you're the number one fan of Aaron Anderson. I was the president of the Logan Diggs fan club. I covered this guy. I thought he was a great fit. And today in the teleconference, Logan Diggs, Noah Kane, and Josh Williams gets the 3 shout-outs. So those are going to be probably your primary running backs. Everybody is so enamored with Caleb Jackson. Now, look, you covered Caleb, and you've been on this kid. We know his speed, but I got to ask you, he's going to be off the ball on kickoffs, but does he get some reps as a running back in this game Sunday night?
I think so.
Yeah. Handful? I don't know. Maybe 2 or 3 plays, but I tell you what, Diggs, Kane, and Josh Williams, I think everybody's asking about Trey Bradford. Emory's not going to play. Ormani Goodwin's out. So that 8 goes to 4 or 5 real quick.
I'll tell you one thing about Caleb Jackson. He does not put the ball on the ground.
Well,
and that's a key to whether if you're nervous about playing a freshman running back, that's a big key.
We'll see.
Trey Holly's not a fumble guy either. Yeah. So they're both 2 sure-handed guys.
And by the way, Florida State is very happy with their 2 running backs. Another thing that's going to piss you off this weekend, the tight end. They're going to throw to the tight end. For the life of me, you've been following them 25, 26. I'm 35, 36. LSU always has trouble with the tight end. But now you got Harold Perkins. You got Greg Penn, and you got Omar Speight.
Great tight ends eats anybody up.
What's that?
A great tight end eats anybody up.
And so, look, there are going to be plays, so don't get mad. This is the first defense of this conglomerate of guys, and I think Mike Norvell's done a fantastic job of rebuilding Florida State. But look what Brian Kelly's had to do just with the secondary in the last 2 years. It's been incredible to have to rebuild like that.
Bayou Bingo, Mike and Buddy, the video of Eric Gilbert is very sad. I hope the kid gets some help. Look, it's not like we have to tiptoe around it anymore. Everybody knows it's a mental health issue. It was brought up on our Tiger Den premium message board earlier today, and I've seen it firsthand. It's if people with those diagnoses don't take their meds, they go manic, and bad things can happen. And they get him going right for a while, and then look. I guarantee you, we've got close to heading towards 400 people in here. Just about everybody in here, or half of y'all, knows somebody with bipolar, and what it's like when they're off their meds and when they're manic. It's a sad thing. So good luck to him, and I hope he gets the help he needs.
Yep, no doubt.
All right, let me scroll down here. Super chat from Hunter Reilers. Who will have the better season, Thomas or Lacey?
Well, they both are going to be starting in the I think you will agree. Malik Neighbors, Kyron Lacey, and BJ, Brian Thomas Jr. You're starting 3.
Man, that's a tough one, because that's when you think production-wise, they could be neck and neck.
Well, people still beat up Lacey for those drops last year. Forget about that. Give him a clean slate. Everybody drops the football. But Brian Thomas is going to be some one-on-one. By the way, Brian Thomas was the second leading receiver behind Jeray Jenkins last year in this game. I think Brian Thomas has a good opportunity to make some big plays. But both of those guys are big receivers. Thomas 6'4", 205, or Lacey 6'2", 215. Don't sleep on Chris Hilton. He's going to get an opportunity. Don't sleep on Aaron Anderson. They're going to move him all around, dink and dunk, swing passes, reverses. And, of course, as we know, Shelton Sampson, Kyle Parker, and others are going to get opportunities. Look, LSU and Florida State have a rich wide receiver room, both of them.
Thank you for that super chat, Hunter Ryler's big time. Let's scroll down here. We've got one more I need to get to, and then I got to get a commercial in. Huey Lipsy with a super chat, $20. Thank you, big time, Huey. Special teams play will be excited. Hopefully, Caleb Jackson touches the ball. What does that tell you, though? That he's back there on kickoff returns. Of course, you know, how many out of 20 end up getting taken out of the end zone? But he did it in high school, and he was good at it.
Well, all the running backs bring something different. And I remember when Mike went and filmed him and Jacques were filming him, we were saying, man, this Caleb Jackson can really run. That was in the preseason. Remember, he got hurt, so he really didn't play. He's got fresh legs. But isn't it nice for LSU to have a guy 6 foot 2 1/4 that can take it to the house?
I filmed him his junior season when it was he was a junior and Le'Veon Moss at Estruma was a senior. Of course, Moss over at Texas A&M. We'll see what kind of season he has. And Le'Veon was more flashy and could wow you when he hit the hole. But I think Caleb is the more durable guy that's can grind it out. And once he gets to the open field, whereas Moss was kind of Eric Dickerson like. But yeah, the thing about Caleb is I just think he can run past you, he can run through you. He's the complete package. But
he wasn't here. Now let's make sure people know he wasn't here in the spring, and it took Emory Jones 3 games to ascend to a starter. Lance Hurd, everybody wants to put him in the lineup. I think we got to give these true freshmen a little bit of time to get their feet wet, but potentially he could be a difference maker at running back, Mike. Now, how long that takes, we're going to see how the season evolves.
Huey, thank you big time for that.
Thank you, Huey.
Yeah, big time. Thank you for that. And I'm really excited about our newest sponsor, and let's hear from him.
Koala Insulation.
There they are, Koala Insulation. Personal experience. Tim DeSell, fantastic work that they do. We just enclosed in a patio and called him up. He was here the next morning, gave a quote, was here 3 days later, blowing in insulation, top shelf responses, text alerts when they were on their way. We're around the corner, letting you know we're on the way. Written quote in the email box within 15 minutes. Absolutely fantastic. Koala Insulation right here in Baton Rouge. Give them a call, 225-447-1001. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and they do a lot of things, not just energy efficiency. They evaluate and fix air infiltration issues, attic air being pulled in the home by the AC, etc. Increase attic ventilation to get the attic temperature and humidity down. They remove insulation damaged by mold or pests and remove pest smells. Koala does spray foam insulation, great for metal buildings and large shops, and most jobs are done in as little as 3 hours, and the energy savings start immediately. They were absolutely fantastic. Their guy went up in the attic here and said, you had some low spots, and I blew you in a bunch for free on top of it. So give Koala a call, 225-457-1001. Kinder Camp with a super chat. Who's a 24 in-state sleeper that LSU could land an offer after a strong senior season? That's a good question. Let me think on that a little bit, and I might come back to it.
And you probably got to wait till you see a few games. I mean, these jamborees and all, you get
the thing. I got 24 commitments right now.
Yeah. Well, once again, though, you're still going with that unlimited number until you get to 85.
I've seen some 25 and 26 kids that I think could be getting offers already. but 24, I haven't seen anybody yet. Of course, I've only seen some scrimmage and jamboree action. And of course, we'll be out tomorrow night and Friday night as well. And
but the 25 class is considered better than 24, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, you're always going to have the same kind of total number that you take from Louisiana, but 25, I think, is going to have more national 100 or national 150 caliber guys. But yeah, thank you for that super chat, Kinder Camp. John Sibley Butler in the house. The time is near. Go Tigers, and let's get off to a great start. H-Town Creole, sup, Mike and Buddy. What's good, LSU family? And let me scroll up here. LSU all day, every day says, what's going on with Toviano? Haven't heard much about it.
You know, that was the biggest surprise that I have not seen. I thought this guy was going to come in and play a box safety and be right there in the slot and be physical. Now, here's the thing about the DBs. We're not trying to beat them up personally. We're just trying to tell you in comparison. I watched the 11 team, and you had Tyrann Mathieu and obviously Claiborne and Eric Reed and Brandon Taylor and Ron Brooks is a nickel. These guys are not that highly touted, but they're going to play hard, and you know they got to communicate back there. Greg Brooks, one of the captains, you got to talk. You got to know when you have help over the top. You want to eliminate the big plays. I got to ask you, Sage Ryan, how much does he start? How much does he play at corner? Or do you think they bring him, Chestnut, and Zy Alexander and alternate those three?
Look,
corner?
There's no doubt that Sage at times has struggled and had his moments. I was thinking about it earlier while you were talking. You know, there's been some famous DBs in LSU history that had a rough start to their careers. Hook Finn,
Yeah.
Jack Hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, remember Jack Hunt in the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah.
Then think about how he played in the national championship game the next year. You know, is Sage Ryan going to have that kind of trajectory where fans might get after him here and there? But what does it say about Brian Kelly and Steeples in the defensive staff, where they think that because of the way they're going to run that defense, that he's the guy that they want out there? So I'm just curious to see how they rotate him, what packages.
But as far as Toviano on the question, I think right now we're going to see him on special teams, and I don't know if we see him any other place. But I think he's got a bright future. He's just got to figure it out. And once again, we expect so much from true freshmen. I thought this kid was going to be a great player as soon as he walked off the bus. People have to understand you are getting acclimated to a totally different world when you come in and have to learn Matt House's defense that first year.
Raymond says, hey, Mike and Buddy, what is your prediction for the final score of the game? I think it will end up in the low to mid 30s for both teams. And Buddy said the over-under was 58.5. And just seeing a lot of scores from a lot of people, it would suggest that everybody's taking the over.
Well, you said 35-24.
I said 35-24.
Which would be a half point over.
So I'm really going to get people now calling me homers, right? FSU fans. I have LSU winning by 35-24.
I've got 33-27. And once again, if you watched any of the games with week 0, this is the first year. I didn't like the rule, but we got to live with it, where the clock does not stop after a first down. And you're going to lose anywhere from 5 to 10 plays on offense. But, man, if you get the ball rolling and you're having a lead in the second half, and I expect LSU to try and run it and control it. On the other hand, Florida State's going to do all of it, and you got to contain Jordan Travis when he gets outside the pocket and starts coming to the line of scrimmage. It's hell on those DBs. But look, I think both teams are going to be close to 30.
The one thing I will say is that I don't see, of course, me picking that kind of score. They might think so, but I don't see anybody disrespecting Florida State and the type of team they have, and
of course not.
How well they're coached and so forth. That there's a reason why. Look, we hit analysis paralysis last week. but everybody this week, I'm a YouTube junkie. I watch all the national, regional shows. This is the most talked about game of the week. It's the game of the opening weekend, without a doubt. We'll see what kind of number Utah and Florida draws, but I think it'll be a nice number, but I don't think it'll be as near as big as LSU and Florida State Sunday night, especially after last year's game. That was a heck of a game, even though it was bizarre and sloppy. It was still, for the casual fan that was neither a Florida State or an LSU fan, they were definitely entertained.
But this is what I love about college football, because not only is it going to have a lot of eyes on it, Mike, I don't know one LSU fan. Yeah, they get nervous. They nervously eat like I do before the games. But the Florida State fans are certainly hell-bent. They're going to win this football game, and it's not going to be close. The LSU fan thinks they're going to win the football game, but as you get closer, they get a little bit of trepidation. And then come Saturday, after the libations kick in, they're going to say, where's the Seminole? I want to kick his ass. This is what is great about college football. Oh, by the way, we had this discussion. Do you like to start with a cupcake game, or do you like the blockbuster game? I'll ask you.
I can see it both ways. I tend to like the blockbuster game.
Well,
because I don't think it hurts you.
Guess what?
And it really ain't going to hurt you starting next year.
Well, the next 3 years are all blockbuster. LSU plays USC in Las Vegas next year. The following 2 years, they play Clemson, both games. So obviously, Verge must have got this cleared with Brian Kelly. LSU did try to pull one on Florida State. Most of you know, because of Mason Smith, the no clue at all decision. Why didn't they just let that kid sit out for Grambling and make it this game is so ridiculous. This is why the NCAA is going to lose their power in a couple of years. But lo and behold, LSU wanted to play a week 0 game with Grambling. They could have sat him out. Florida State did that last year. The Seminole fans don't want to hear that Harold Perkins didn't play and special teams was a cluster frick and they had a week 0 game. They don't want to hear all that. They are really good on paper, Mike. I looked at their depth chart. They got a lot more talent this year. But once again, Mike Norvell, 1-3 against top 10 teams. And you know who beat him twice?
Wait.
Brian Kelly, Notre Dame.
There you go.
So these teams go back, and this is what college football is all about. But this year, as good as Florida State is and good as LSU is, whoever wins this game is going to catapult up there and have a chance to have a special
and for either one of them, if they lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened to LSU last year. Now, they laid an egg at the end of the year when they had it all in the palm of their hands in College Station. But it didn't hurt LSU. I mean, they were right there. What ends up being the scenario had they beaten A&M? We still had to go to Georgia, but still. Ashley Bell with a super chat. When was the last time we didn't lose a top 15 Louisiana kid to Bama? Looks like the win against Bama mattered, and the Texas schools are the new threat to keep kids. Well, that'd be Holstein. Of course, that offer was kind of, you got an offer, but he really wasn't heavily recruited because of Walker Howard at the time. And then you had the tight end from Westgate. But yeah, we're looking at what's going to happen with Dominic McKinley on Friday afternoon. It was trending Texas 3 weeks ago. The buzz has been all A&M to start the week, and then OU's been a little bit confident late today. So where's LSU at? They third, fourth, fifth? LSU might be fourth or fifth in this battle. Well, look, because it's if it isn't Texas A&M or Oklahoma, I'm thinking Texas is third. Who's fourth, Ohio State or LSU?
I think it is obvious.
And it is an NIL deal, by the way.
Well, I was just going to say, though, it's obvious. LSU is getting negatively recruited because they've had a hell of a lot of transition at the D-line spot. And you want a guy that you can look in the eye and say, I put this guy in the pros. I'm going to teach you this technique, all of that. They were not that close with McKinley. Brian Kelly offered him and his brother, took over the recruiting, remember? I think Jimmy Lindsay's wife made a call to Dominic earlier this week, supposedly, and they have a relationship with Jimmy. But, man, look, You can't ever have enough corners and DBs. And LSU is going to have to kick it up a notch or two with some D linemen and
I will say
specifically D
this.
tackles.
I've been seeing a lot of LSU fans saying, BK is not wowing them in recruiting, blah, blah, blah. I will disagree with that, except at one spot. I will say that the defensive tackle spot, an inside defensive lineman, that I think there needs to be some more national high 4-star, 5-star guys in there. And McKinley's that guy. If you want to compare this to recent years, just based on his rating, not saying he's near there, because I wouldn't say that McKinley's where Glenn Dorsey was.
No way.
But his rating and perception wise is where Glenn Dorsey was coming out of high school.
Yeah.
You just don't lose those. It's bad perception, regardless of what kind of football player he's going to end up being at the next level.
But you look at Saban, he turned this thing around. Marcus Spears, Marquise Hill, Kyle Williams, Chad Lavallee, all those guys. You got to have some dogs, and they're going to have to concentrate with some D tackles. Look, I think they got plenty of jack linebackers and edge rushers. And once again, Jordan Jefferson, wouldn't shock me to see him and Jacoby and Gilroy play the snaps for Mason Smith. Wingo, I don't think he's going to be spelled more than 5 or 6 plays. Jalen Lee's come on. And then, as we know, Deshaun Womack and other freshmen are going to come into the depth chart as we play. But the line of scrimmage, Mike, once again, if Florida State pushes LSU's defensive front back and gives Travis time, you're talking about a long night for the defense. On the other hand, if LSU can push Florida State and control the football with the run game, then you got to give an edge to LSU.
Ashley Bell, thank you big time for that super chat. Very much appreciative of that. And I tell you what, let me get this in here. I need to get it in right away. Alumni Hall. Tiger fans, when you want to show your LSU Tiger pride, Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. The best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family. Nike, Nike Golf Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, hats, Yeti gifts and accessories. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shop. And I tell you what, we're going to do these back to back. Let's hear from Mike and Alex.
Hey, it's Michael and Alex again with Pride Roofing. Here we grow again. Did your roof get denied during Hurricane Ida?
The insurance company is playing game with you.
Don't forget, August 29th is your 2-year anniversary to make a claim.
Your neighbor got new roof. Why not you?
Pay your deductible. We're fortified, certified.
We do your roof. You came on the Pride umbrella. Bet on Pride.
855
Pride
16.
All right, guys. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, Pride Roofing, 855 Pride 16. Call them up. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait and get a free roof inspection. And with that free roof inspection, because you said TigerBait, they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for a year, a $99 value. They're footing the bill for each of those. And a lot of you have jumped on that. And if you think you're getting close to needing a new roof, whether it's your home or commercial business, they're there for you anywhere in South Louisiana. And of course, a brand new spanking new big new facility in Hammond. And I talked to Mike. They are busting at the seams. They've been buying shingles in mass. And whether it's been hail damage or wind or whatever that's hit Louisiana, they're there for you at Pride Roofing.
Knock on wood. We hope we don't have to worry about I watch the Weather Channel a little bit more just to see if this Idalia was going to impact Tallahassee to the west and Orlando to the east. But look, folks, we talk about it. Commercial, residential, and metal roofs. Metal roofs continue to be hot. They bought and acquired Crown Metals. It's changed the metal roofing business. You talked about shingles. Mike was on with me a week or two ago, talked about the discounted shingles. Everything we do it the right way, and you will take pride. thank all of you who have referred people to us that have done business with them, because once again, they get there early, they get the job done. And 855 Pride 16, don't forget in Baton Rouge, Mike Kirby and those guys working hard for you. Give them an opportunity. You're not going to see us on TV every 20 minutes. All we ask is that you give them an opportunity. Mention Mike and myself, Pride Roofing. You will not be disappointed.
Big Money Prediction says, who will cover Johnny Wilson?
I watched some of the film on Deuce Chestnut, and Syracuse was playing Deuce Chestnut 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. Johnny Wilson went out about 2 or 3 yards, turned around, caught the ball. Deuce missed the tackle. He runs in from 35 yards. He's 6'7", 240. He is a guy that knows how to use his body. When the ball is coming to him, he's such a big guy, it's hard to reach over him without pass interference. And then Keon Coleman, now you know he's got to have a case of the screaming red ass when they kick it off. LSU didn't really pursue him that much the first time.
I remember watching him in 7-on-7 action in Lafayette going before his senior year of high school, and very much raw. You knew he could run,
but this is personal for Coleman.
Yeah.
And so you know how good the Louisiana receivers are. So look, we hope that they come up and you
got Destin Hill from New Orleans there too.
Exactly. But
I really liked him.
The answer to the question, Zy Alexander, Deuce Chestnut, Sage Ryan, Ashton Stamps, and all those safeties.
Gabe Fertitta's doing the job over there for him.
Yeah.
Former Catholic High football coach on Florida State staff. Blake Ruffino with AYS Sports says, what's up, everybody? He's in the house. Glad to have you with us, Blake.
Good to hear from you, BR.
Let's see here. Josh Forbes says, hello, guys. All right. Well, we got a lot of FSU fans in here right now. Andy Whitaker, TigerBait Premium subscriber, Fizz Buzz on our message board, one of our best. Are there any position groups where we see a guy start that no one thought would start? For example, a couple of players yesterday implied that Swinson would start at defensive end.
Now, that could happen. Swinson is a better pass rusher than Ovio Gofu. So, look, whether you start the first play, whether you alternate snaps, Ovio Gofu and Braden Swinson will be your two jack linebackers. Savion Jones, what do you think? This could be a big game for 35. Do you feel like maybe this could be his calling card? Could we see him with a sack and a half and a tackle for loss?
That would set the stage for the year if he did come out like gangbusters and say, I'm here and I'm the guy. I'm one of the guys you're going to be talking about all season. That's the kind of kid that I thought he was coming out of high school, and now that he's close to 290 pounds, I think he's going to be hard for anybody to deal with.
And once again, you're going to see LSU play a lot of guys, so they will alternate jack linebackers. But whether Ogofu starts, I do know Swinson is the better pass rusher, and we know, Mike. Look, you talk about the line of scrimmage. This is like an SEC game. Who's going to win the battle in the trenches is going to give you a heads up on how this puppy is going to fly out. Mike and I think that LSU will be appreciably better on special teams. Florida State, though, is chomping at the bit because they have a lot of weapons and they are salivating on all the reports that we've all given in the Baton Rouge media. Everybody says we're soft and homers and all that. If that was the case, we'd say they have a great defensive secondary. All I'm saying to you is that you're going to have to come up and tackle in space, and missed tackles are the biggest thing that a coach's frets about that first game, because you have not hit that much because you don't want to beat your team up.
Is it the game plan that is going to be a lot of similarity to what John Chavis used to do, where opposing team probably was pretty successful in the middle of the field, and then things started to get a little bit tighter as you started approaching the back end of your side of the field? Is that pretty much the way, keeping everything in front of them and then wait for the mistake?
Hey, look, you can beat Chief up all you want, but he was 2-0 against Johnny.
Yeah, he was.
And you know what he did? He told those defensive ends, do not let him get outside your contain. So now you're going to probably force him in the middle. And guess who's spying? Who didn't play last year? Oh, yeah. Harold Perkins played on the kickoff team.
I've had some John Chavis thoughts about the way to defend this. And on your show today, I brought up some Muschamp when you were asking about Harold Perkins and how to use him. And I started thinking about the 50 different blitzes that were named after states during the Muschamp Nick Saban era. And there's some things you do with Harold Perkins to make it look like he's coming up and try to confuse him. And then you send him and line him up in different ways. But you would like for Swinson and Savion Jones and Ovie Ogofu to do some damage to apply the pressure.
I'm going to throw out Omar Spates. I think people are going to be talking about him after this
He can
game.
run too.
And look, I loved it. You heard me call it the Cougar package when Perkins and Omar Spates were coming from the outside. Let's be honest. The difference in year 2, Mike, is what you were alluding to. He is going to be able to disguise. Last year, they were just trying to figure out what plays. How many times you looked at, I thought you had me over the top. I mean, you would expect this guy to do what he needs to do to keep him off his game. And that means blitzing. That means disguising. That means when you get to Travis, get him down. Because if he gets by you, he can hurt you once he leaves the pocket. Same thing with Jaden Daniels. I don't think the Florida State fans realize Jaden Daniels is going to be a better football player Sunday night than you have ever freaking seen.
All right. American Patriot with a super set. Great show, guys. We do a post-game show. Absolutely. We will try to go live fairly quickly Sunday night. I don't know if it's going to be within 30 minutes of games in or within 45 minutes to an hour. Typically, we're an hour to 90 minutes afterwards for a home game, but we're going to try to be a little earlier Sunday night, and then we'll get our post-game content up after the show. Or try to do a little bit of both. But there will be a post-game show, and that's another reason why to hit that notification bell. As soon as we go live, you'll get an alert to your phone if you've got the YouTube app installed on your iPhone or Android.
My buddy Pete Cordelli said today on this show, the average time of the games in week 0 were 3 hours and 14 minutes. Last year, it was 3 hours and 17 minutes. You know why? You got less plays on offense, but you know what they did? Money. They put in more commercials. Look, I don't mind them taking away 7-8 plays offensively if you can, once again, not let the replay go on so long and not have an inordinate amount of commercials. ABC is not as nearly as bad as CBS, but Mike, 3 hours and 12 is what they, or 3:14 is what they average. This puppy with ABC being the marquee game, 3:20, 3:30. You're on 30 minutes after that. We're talking 11 o'clock.
Kinder Camp, and by the way, American Patriot, thank you for that super chat. Kinder Camp with a super chat says, thoughts on James Simon, class of 25, Calvary. LSU absolutely loves him. We filmed Harlem Berry on, was that Thursday night we filmed him? I had that video up the next day. It's up on TigerBait. He's big time.
And then who's
LSU
the third?
wants
Who's
him
the
back.
third? Who's the third?
And you got the kid Ford in Opelousas.
Yeah, and once again, he may not make the cut. They liked us too a lot. Boy, I like both of them. I looked at a lot of the stuff you've had on the site, and I like both those guys.
Harlem Berry's something special. He's a one-man show now. I've got plans to see him multiple times this season. All right, let me scroll up here. Kenny Haynes says, so who's the sponsor, Mike? Well, that'd be attorney Kenneth P. Haynes. He's one of our sponsors of the post-game show. Thank you, Kenny.
Hey, Tiger Shark, what a great interaction. I didn't want to bring it up because we got so much more pertinent stuff to talk about, but he gave a legal explanation about NIL and Mason Smith, and I've talked to some other people. You know, Johnny Manziel made a hell of a lot of money and got docked for a half a game. on an autograph session. And of course, the LSU fan base is going like, why don't they have the coconuts to play Mason Smith and then challenge the NCAA? But you just can't.
My immediate idea when that happened was in December, because they knew what happened to Keishon Butte.
Mm-hmm.
They said, you know what? Mason's ahead of schedule. We think he's going to play in the bowl game. And then say, no, we suspended him. He's going to be suspended because of this signing deal.
But
even though he wasn't 100% healthy. And I saw some national guy put that out. And I'm like, that's my first thought. They should have lied and said he was healthy and then took it in the bowl game.
Well, but the point is that Tiger Shark had the legal knowledge to know. And I think you go to court with the NCAA and you probably win, but you just can't take the chance.
But then BK says 2 days ago that he wasn't sure he'd be ready to go anyway.
Well, we saw that. We saw he wasn't 100%. But look, and who knows what it is with Emory. But once again, no clue at all is the acronym, and they will not have control of the remote control in another 2 or 3 years.
Travis Miller, FSU alum here, packing up tonight to head to Orlando. Tomorrow, Sunday's game should be a fun when both teams match up really well against each other. I'm looking forward to the LSU O-line versus FSU D-line matchup. Travis, I think you guys are going to have a fun time, and I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of LSU fans down there. And I think there's going to be a lot of LSU and FSU fans partying together too. So I think it's going to be a nice little party down there. I don't know how you do it in Orlando, but I'm sure you guys will run each other in Disney World and Universal and wherever else people might be going.
Look, don't you like it though? Now I've had a couple of people actually ask me who is Florida State's fans reminded you of, and it's almost like, well, Georgia right now, anywhere on social media, you can't talk to a dog because he'll start barking, and we'll see if they can bark up the tree for a third consecutive national championship, which I don't think is going to happen. I think Georgia will not win it this year. They got a lot of rude awakeness coming. One of them, Mike Bobo, replacing a really good coordinator who's now in the NFL, and also Stetson Bennett. This is the thing that both these teams have, though, Sunday, Mike.
And is Tennessee going to be more of a threat than people think?
Well, no, but I'm saying LSU's got a returning quarterback who's going to be better than ever. So is Florida State. Oh, my goodness. Let's thank the good Lord. I don't know how much coverage you saw on it, but it does seem like Florida was spared. When we get hit with hurricanes, folks, it's brutal. And trust me, it sounds like they got by because it went so north so quick.
No, but they got a lot of issues in South Florida, a ton of flooding.
They did, but it wasn't as bad as they predicted.
Our thoughts and prayers are with
all
them.
those, certainly all those people in Tallahassee, Orlando, our thoughts and prayers with you.
Thoughts and prayers with everybody in Southwest Louisiana, too, with the fires.
We know where you've been.
Yeah.
We've been there.
LSU fans, beat the heat and get over to Drip IV for all your hydration needs. The heat has been killer this summer, and the dehydration is real. Call them at 225-256-3634. They're open 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. They will guide you to the perfect IV drip that fits your needs. The IVs are also great to anybody feeling under the weather or in need of an energy boost. I know a lot of people around here are like me. When it starts getting in the fall, your allergies start going berserk. They have combos there that can help you with that, and as well as give you an energy boost. Loaded with vitamin C and other great vitamins, amino acids, electrolytes designed to get you back feeling best in a hurry. Call them 225-256-3634. That Drip IV right there located next to Sushiyama and Iverstein's and Perkins Crossing on the corner of Perkins and Essen, a super convenient spot, and they always welcome walk-ins. And in Lafayette, another location, Cordoba off of Ambassador Caffrey, the first medical office building on the right. Drop in and check them out. And Drip IV doing great business here in town. And it's not quite 105 like it has been, but that 95 degrees will still get you.
Man, Nate, we had a day the other day that was 89 for the high, and I said this is normal. By the way, Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler, and Holly Rowe will be on the call. I enjoy those games. This is the last year of CBS. We all know that Gary Danielson is a polarizing figure, but I enjoy Herbstreit and Fowler. And the last time they covered LSU was LSU Bama, and they did about a 15-minute afterwards on the plane. And this is why Chris Fowler said, this is why when you're 10 years old and you want to do this for a living, this is what it's going to be like. Now, I don't think that atmosphere will mimic Tiger Stadium against Alabama.
I will say,
but it's going to be pretty damn good for week one.
I will say this about Camping World Stadium: there is no atmosphere there.
Yeah,
it's not a good stadium. It's not. I mean, look, they make it look good on TV. They plaster it with all the banners and make it look the sheeting with the sponsorships, and it looks good on camera. But around the stadium, it's
and tailgating is negligent.
Yeah, it's that's why it's when you draw that for your bowl game, it's you usually end up at Disney or somewhere else, and everybody remembers the Penn State game.
Oh, goodness,
that awful slop. Then they got a new field, and that was remedied the following year.
By the way, Florida State is undefeated in Orlando, 9-0-3, I think is their record. LSU is 3-3 in Orlando. And as we know, both teams finished the year. Look, Brian Kelly, what did you think when he actually kind of talked about where they were improved? And they asked him how you think his team's going to play. And he said, I don't really know. Did that bother you, or is that honest? And do you think Mike Norvell and Florida State talking more about, we know what we're going to do, we're confident? I go back to the record, I dive into these stats. Those 6 teams that you beat in a row are not exactly what we call SEC big-time blue bloods. I just think there's going to be a feeling out process. And, Mike, the team that makes the least mistakes, and obviously you mentioned something earlier. I always talk about this. You got to score touchdowns when you get in the red zone. Damian Ramos is fantastic this year. You don't want to see him Sunday night kicking 4 or 5 field goals. You want to see LSU converting touchdowns. I think Florida State's the same thing.
Absolutely. Anthony Presley, good buddy of mine, with a super chat, and he adds, appreciate you, Mike, and we appreciate you, Anthony, and that super chat. Let's scroll down here and get to a few more of these. Go Tigers. This game should have been played in Miami. Did they ever do anything down there? Opener? There's no such thing as an Orange Bowl opener.
Well, no, the 2 neutral sites were picked out ahead, the Superdome and Orlando. Now, if he's intimating,
but has there ever been an opening season neutral site game held in Miami?
I don't remember that. No,
that would be better.
By the way, tickets are going to be premium for USC in Las Vegas. Some other tidbits on the college front. ACC possibly could add Cal, Stanford, and SMU. Today, Sankey had the meeting on the CFP. They are trying to figure out how you're going to come up with the formula on the 12 that make it to the playoffs after the 24 regular season. And, of course, with
all the ACC FSU fans in here, I'll go ahead and say it. I think 4 SEC teams should be automatic into the 12.
And how about Florida State now? Look. They have been
ACC will give you maybe a 1.
No, but Florida State has been publicly saying we got to get out of this conference because we're losing $30 million a year. That they're not going to come up with how you get into the playoffs until they figure out what's going to happen with the ACC.
I will say this,
and of course the Pac.
I will say this: 12 playoff teams, absolutely, 3 SEC teams should be without hesitation. And you could probably go back in the last 20 years and see if there might have been some years where there should have been 4.
But Sankey definitely was running the meeting today, so there's a lot of talking heads, and they're going to come up with here. I do not want
LSU fans. It just matters more.
Look, I'm sorry. ACC, if you add Cal, Stanford, and SMU, Mike, the other sports besides football are at a geographic disadvantage. I mean, can you imagine coming across country to play volleyball, softball, tennis, golf, baseball, all that? Obviously, they're trying to stay in the mix, but we'll see. All of that's going to come out here in the next week or so.
DR says, no, Miami is the butthole of Florida. I've never been to Miami now that I think about it, other than to get on a flight to go to, island vacation, getting on a different plane. Okay. Big money predictions. Jordan Jefferson. We're going to see him. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Started a lot of games. Once again, another guy that's familiar with Florida State, played at West Virginia. Big guy, 6'4", 317. We did not see him in the spring. They held him out. And Jacoby and Gilry and him are going to probably split reps since Mason is out. And they like him. Mike, once again, this talks about that line of scrimmage, man. Florida State feels like they're going to win the line of scrimmage. LSU knows they have to win the line of scrimmage. Going to be a hell of a matchup. But I would expect Jordan Jefferson to play pretty damn good Sunday night.
I think it's going to be a great football game. I know I went 35-24, but I don't. I have a hard time believing that it's going to be. Look, it is a first game, but I tend to think the fact that you've got two veteran quarterbacks, maybe that it's not going to be as sloppy as you think. But I think there's going to be a lot of offense, and that's why I think that 58.5 over under. Is that a sucker number,
dude?
Is there any? I mean, is it more likely it's going to be under now that you start to think about it? Because everybody's picking scores like we are, that putting it well over 60.
I learned 15 to 20 years ago, Mike. I'm not smart enough to make a living betting, and so many bounces of the ball. I will say this about LSU: the scrimmage that we were allowed to go to, they were doing some things that you're going to actually love. This is a question that you and I posed last year about Mike Denbrock. Now, in the bowl game, they had every ice cream flavor that you could want. Remember, Malik Neighbors threw a pass to Jaden Daniels and all these trick plays and all that. Florida State scored on a trick play last year. Does Denbrock and Kelly go relatively conservative and try to control the ball? Or are we going to see some dink and dunk and then over the top to some of the speedsters? What do you think?
I think you need to have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And
be unpredictable when you call it.
So is there any chance this is a 21-17?
Look, Aaron Anderson and all those guys.
We're sitting here. Both fan bases are talking about how great their offenses are. And what happens if it ends up being a 21-17 game?
Mason Taylor, is a marquee tight end. And I don't know if we'll see Pimpton in this game, but you're going to love when you see number 88. He is going to be a fantastic player. Look, Chris Hilton has legs on the run for the scrimmage touchdown. He caught up with Caleb Jackson. Would love to see Chris Hilton make some big plays. Aaron Anderson in space. Malik Neighbors on third down, running the football, controlling the clock. And you got to know where Jared Verse is on every play. And they have to know where Harold Perkins is on every play.
There's so many similarities between these two teams. Brian Kelly said it. And they've intimated similar things over there. So, all right, guys, we had a nice show tonight. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe, notification bell. Go to TigerBait after the show. Try us out for $1 with a premium subscription. I think if you're an LSU fan, you'll love all of our content on TigerBait. I've got a lot of prospect video that we shot last weekend. We were at 6 different games last weekend, and I've got 3 or 4 of them edited that I'm going to start finish rolling out tomorrow because we got to get those SD cards emptied out and start filming again tomorrow night. And high school football season's here, and we've got a super slate of the films we're going to be filming in the next 6 weeks. Usually after about 5 or 6 weeks, we've gotten everybody at least once that LSU's after for 24, 25, and even maybe a few 26. And then we'll start doubling back and getting more of them. So go to tigerbait.com and subscribe. We'd love to have you as a premium subscriber. You'll get our text alerts and more. And, of course, we'll be back here on Sunday night with our post-game show and a lot more. So thanks again, buddy.
Yeah, and look, for all those Florida State fans, this is what we love. You guys have been talking a lot of smack. LSU fans, I think, have been caught by surprise because they are so confident. I just went through the record, 18-16 in 3 years.
Florida State fans got to do that.
No,
you're not doing that each week with Wake Forest and NC State. It's not often you get to play an SEC school.
Well, look, they are really good on paper. And as you know, this is why we love college football. So thanks for everybody following it. And I like LSU 33-27, but I think this thing goes, and you're going to be biting the fingernails and nervous eating all the way into the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Good night. Thanks for everybody tuning in, and we'll see you Sunday night.